What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and this is me redoing a review that I did, but I felt like it was more of a complaining video instead of an actual review. So this is going to be me actually reviewing my favorite of the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogies, The Dark Knight Rises. Now, this is my favorite, but I know that it's not the best one. But it is my favorite, and it's because I like endings, but it is also because it is based on two of my favorite comics, The Dark Knight Returns, and of course The Nightfall, which I have read part of Nightfall, and it is my second favorite comic. So that is honestly why this one is probably my favorite over the other two. But I know that it's not the best one, but we'll get into that later. So if you do not want to know what happens in this movie, I'm going to be going into some spoilers, not too many, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone. So if you do not want to know, I will give you a couple seconds to leave the video. Okay, welcome back. What did you think of the movie? Did you enjoy it? I hope so. I'm going to tell you the reasons why I enjoyed this movie, but I'm also going to talk into some problems that I have with it. Okay, so The Dark Knight Rises is the continuance of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, where we left off, where Batman runs away from the cops, and he quits being Batman for years. It has been 8 years since everything that happened. The whole thing with Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face. The Dent Act has been issued, which it is where basically the criminals do not get parole and everyone is thrown into one prison cell. They have completely abolished crime in Gotham City. It has been peaceful, but Commissioner Gordon knows that this cannot last for very long. And things are so peaceful that the mayor is even thinking about firing Gordon because he's just not needed anymore. Because he is known as a war hero for what he did. And so they're talking about, well, the mayor's going to fire him because this is peacetime. There's no need for him anymore. He has a speech, though, that talks about what Harvey Dent really did, but he analyzes, if I do this, it's going to set back everything we set out to do, and Gotham deserves this peace. But he knows that this cannot last for very long, and we are introduced to a character by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, known as Detective Blake, who goes to Gordon, and he's like, you did all this stuff. You and Dent cleaned the streets really good, but you're still up here like we're still at war. And it's like you wonder, yeah, Gordon obviously knows that this cannot last for very long. And so we see Bruce Wayne, who has been in his mansion for 8 years ever since what happened to him after the thing with Two-Face. But we've come to notice that he has not moved on from his life. Even though he has not been in the Batcave for a long time, he has not done anything. He has not moved on in life. He is just sitting there waiting to become the Batman once again. Kind of like in Tim Burton's Batman Returns. He has not done anything with his life. He is not throwing parties anymore. He just wants to be the Batman. But it's different in those two films. So when the chance comes for him to become Batman again, Alfred makes the comment of like, you're not what you were. You can just you think that you can just put on your cape and your cowl and that'll make you who you were? No. And Alfred is afraid that Bruce wants to die as the Batman. That's all he wants to do. That Bruce thinks that Alfred thinks that he's going to fail, but Alfred thinks that Bruce wants to fail and die as the Batman and not as Bruce Wayne. Whereas Alfred thinks that the Batman isn't needed anymore and that all Bruce needs to do is give the police his resources, his knowledge. That's what Gotham needs, not his body, not his life. And this comes to terms with when he comes up to fight Bane. Now, I loved Tom Hardy as Bane. I felt like Tom Hardy was a really good choice because Tom Hardy had to get really ripped for this role, and he is a terrifying presence. When you first see Bane, he was really terrifying, and I really liked Tom Hardy's performance in this movie. He shows so much emotion with just his eyes, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that he didn't at least get some award for this role. I mean, yes, the original plan for The Dark Knight was to have The Dark Knight Rises was possibly to have the Joker return, but unfortunately to the sad passing of Heath Ledger, we did not get that. But I think that they did pretty good with Bane, because Bane is a terrifying presence. And yes, I know some fans were upset that they did not do the Venom thing. But Christopher Nolan was trying to approach the Dark Knight trilogy overall as more of something that could be realistically and not anything supernatural. For example, in The Dark Knight Rises, Bruce has a dream or some kind of vision with Ra's al Ghul, And he says, I told you that I was immortal, but there are many forms of immortality, such as with possibly an heir to a throne, or the League of Shadows, which, yes, the League of Shadows does return in this movie, and a lot of fans were kind of not liking that it's just the League of Shadows again, but it really goes to show what was said in the first film, that Ra's al Ghul is immortal, and there are many forms to immortality. And this also goes back to another thing that the fans did not like, that Christian Bale is not in the bat suit that much. And yes, I know that he's not, but that's not what this movie is about. This is about how Batman could have been anyone. Batman was just a symbol for good. And a lot of, I mean, yes, it didn't really bother me that he wasn't Batman that much, because I didn't see it that way. I seen as, okay, he wants to be Batman and nothing more. But he's only in the suit maybe 3 or 4 times total. And the fights the choreography is done very well throughout this movie. Christian Bale and Tom Hardy knew how to work off really well with each other. And when you see the first fight, you know what happens. I mean, I was sitting in the theater cringing because I knew what was going to happen in the first fight. I've read Nightfall. I know what Bane does to Batman. And I was, oh my gosh. And to see Tom Hardy pick up Christian Bale over his head and break his back, Tom Hardy had to get really ripped for this role. Now, something that I kind of wish that they had done was at least hint at the Venom thing a little bit more. Here's what they kind of did. The mask gives Bane this painkiller stuff. So when him and Batman are fighting it out, and the second time Batman cuts it with whatever they are, he cuts it, and Bane is all of a sudden in pain, and he's acting in it like he actually punches and actually dents a column or something. But I was kind of okay with that. And I thought that the ending of The Dark Knight Rises was really well, and especially with Anne Hathaway playing Catwoman, I feel like she was the best actress to play this. She really knew what she was doing. The character was written really well. And so that was what I really liked about this movie. Now, I do have some problems, like, for example, the very first time when Batman returns, it goes from a really quick day to night thing, and they could have worked on that better. I did not like the first cowl that he had on. It was too bulky. But other than that, The Dark Knight Rises is a really good movie, and I strongly suggest that you go and check it out. It's not the best out of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but it's my favorite, and I hope now that you have understand why. I'm going to give The Dark Knight Rises a B+. Guys, I hope that you have enjoyed my review of The Dark Knight Rises. Put in the comments below, what is your favorite Christopher Nolan Batman movie? I really want to know. Hit that like button. Unless you're upside down, it's this one. Guys, have a good day.